We are back. It's our final segment this morning as we're talking with Thomas Schwartz, professor over at Vanderbilt Political Science. Good to have him on as always. And as we say, national security is always an issue right now. Every state has homeland security. We see these bombings. We're all worried about where it's going to strike next and happen next, and trying to get to the root of it. And let's take a call next from Dana. Hi, Dana.
Hi. Yes, hello. I have two things that popped into my head. They're unrelated. One, as a Vanderbilt professor, I'm very curious about the nature of the anger in our society, and I think a lot of it is being misrepresented by Black America. What is your response to the level of anger of these young Black people? It creates a chaos undermining American culture and society. It adds to our national security problem. Number two, I just saw ticker tapes on the news, and I haven't seen any major news people talking about it, but apparently Homeland Security messed up, and 858 refugees or immigrants were granted citizenship. They were supposed to be deported. Does Nashville have any of those people, those 858, and what can be done about it? Can we strip the citizenship and export them? Thank you. I'll hang up now.
Thanks for your call. Well, that's been in the news.
Yes.
Yes.
And the 858 issue is going to be investigated.
Mm-hmm.
In large respect, it may be simply a bureaucratic error. We're probably not dealing with any sort of dangerous groups of people. There may be some, though, who certainly should have been deported because they'd overstayed their visa or they had worked illegally or something like that. There may be some who have been arrested for misdemeanors or felonies and also would be eligible for being deported. The government has not released information on where the 858 are.
Yeah, so
we don't know if they're any in Nashville. 858, it's a big country. They could be all over the place, and I don't think we're looking at really a dangerous problem. But this is one that will probably have Congress saying, you know, how did you make such a clear mistake?
Yeah,
that's
and correct it so it doesn't happen again.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, and, you know, there's obviously tension. Black Lives Matter, but it's interesting that she makes this call right after I asked him during the break about some of the news about the most recent shooting video.
Right, and this is the one in Tulsa.
Yeah.
And this really does look very, very bad, and I think it's going to require an investigation because this, and unlike some previous ones where there were claims made of someone having their hands up and that turned out not to be true, this is really verifiably true. It's on the video, and it really does look very, very bad for the choice to use lethal force.
There are a lot of issues with regard to Black Lives Matter, Dana, but I ask you, and I can think of at least 3 or 4 cases, because they always stick with me when I see the video, that are, just as you described, clearly out of line, where these African Americans have been shot in circumstances that it just shouldn't have happened. And you're right, there are others where there is as much, mistakes happen, but ask yourself, I mean, if you're African American and you see blacks constantly getting shot and gunned down, is that going to bother you? Okay, have you seen any of these videos, Dana? Does that not bother you? All right, you know, we haven't done a ton of reports as far as I can tell where I've seen law enforcement, and it does happen, and we report it when it happens, gunning down unarmed white people. Yeah. It just doesn't happen very often. And so, you know, that can be feeding some of the sentiment there, I think, among many of these. So if you're completely perplexed by that, you need to start watching the news a little closer, because I think that it's not to explain away everything. There's a lot of other issues at hand there, but I think that's part of it. Certainly, yeah, there's always going to be tensions in this country, and that's a whole different topic on that. But that most recent video is disturbing.
It's very
and
chilling.
You know, I'm not black, but I saw that video, and that made me mad. Yeah. Okay, I mean, come on, what are you thinking? When is that going to stop? That kind of thing. Saying, of course, that law enforcement is something that is a very difficult job, and I understand these officers sometimes are put in difficult situations. Dana, yeah, are you back, Dana?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Hello, Mr. Barrett?
Yeah, I'm here. Go ahead. Do you want to respond?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I've seen the recent video in Oklahoma.
That doesn't bother you at all?
Not so much. I'll tell you why. Yes.
Your phone's cutting out. It's breaking up.
Okay, let me go. Black Lives Matter. Get their hands in the air, that's good. But that's half of compliance. Where were the big black dude in Oklahoma? His feet were moving away from the police, not following orders to get down on the ground. Stay there with your hands up.
Okay, well, listen, we can get into all that, and again, that's a different show, but the bottom line is if someone's unarmed, yes, of course you comply with law enforcement. Does it always happen? No. And I can say this to you, if you're an African American and you're dealing with law enforcement, you don't look at them as allies. We've had them time and again. They look at them as being adversarial, so you're hesitant to maybe trust and do everything they say right on the spot. But if you're unarmed and there's other ways to take someone down than to shoot and kill them, that's just, I think, pretty darn obvious, all right? So the fact that they maybe don't comply entirely, as long as you're not in danger as a law enforcement officer, shooting and killing them is wrong. And there's just no debating that. All right, so that is what it is. Yeah. Listen, do we suspect there's going to be any situation in New York City? The security's been increased, right, with the UN gathering. So who all is going to be there?
This is a fairly universal. You get heads of state from all over the world will be there. President Obama speaks today. He welcomes the leaders, but you're going to have a sort of a who's who of all the major states.
I heard
in the world.
The Japanese leader here has already commented on,
Yes.
He was sorry to hear it, but also is concerned about it, obviously. Right. The security must be just unreal.
Oh, yeah.
Right
well,
now.
New York gets shut down in the area around the UN and some of the other areas where the speeches are going on. It's a complete traffic nightmare and just security nightmare for anyone nearby.
One other point I wanted to hit on real quick as we wrap things up. One thing that did happen in New York, and it seemed to work, is where they sent out those alerts to identify the suspect, which I think helped obviously capture him. What about that? That's going to be a new trend? It's almost like a reverse 911 call, but this was something where signals were sent out. Wasn't that the case?
No, they're taking advantage. I mean, this is part of the developing theory about how you catch and certainly how you're able to get ahead of these things is to send out the information. The person, one of the people who identified the terrorist, saw it on CNN, saw the alert, and then
I think it was the bar owner that recognized him asleep on his front porch and then saw that and makes the call, and then that leads to all the shit. That's the thing. Technology can be a wonderful weapon against terrorism as well. If nothing else, these days, and like I said, I'm amazed that they don't think about this, and I'm glad they don't, but when you're out in public, it's amazing. You're on camera somewhere, be it a bank surveillance camera or cameras up there on a red light. You're on camera almost nonstop. When you walk out of this building today, you're probably going to be on camera somewhere. And that surveillance video helps catch them.
Well,
left
it does,
and right.
Certainly, and it's even more omnipresent in Europe. They've gone even further.
Is that even more so than we have here? I mean, it's just, are we talking about security cameras?
Security and all sorts of other sort of downtown cameras and monitoring that's going on.
I mean, I'm just wondering what will be next on all of this, where we go. But the security cameras everywhere. At least they've caught him, and now the question is, are they able to get any information? I wonder, since he did not kill himself, you wonder if he fears death or didn't want to die, if that can be his radicalization reversed, or to some degree where he cooperates at some point now.
And that certainly has been the case. They've gotten more information out of captured terrorists than out of certainly than out of dead terrorists. And they've gotten a lot. So this is actually going to help a great deal.
That's what law enforcement said. They said they were glad. I mean, a lot of people are like, why did you just shoot? You get angry and say, why not just shoot and kill him? I'm sure police were firing what they could to just defend themselves and take him out, but it turned out they were not life-threatening injuries. So this guy now is incarcerated. He'll be questioned, and maybe it can lead us to something more. Listen, Professor, thank you so much for coming on. It's always a pleasure. Always nice to come on. You got class today?
Yes, a little bit later, All
right, just work them hard, all right, over there at Vanderbilt. It's nice to have you on, Professor. Thank you much. We'll take a break, be back with a programming note about tomorrow right after this. Stay with us.